President Trump announces America First automotive tariffs, and I'm here to tell you not to believe the lies. There are already lies coming out. There were lies coming out before President Trump made the announcement. And now that he has made the announcement, well, the lies are going to continue. They're going to get bigger, bolder, badder. They're going to tell you that the sky is falling. But first, let's listen to President Trump himself describe his tariffs.
And we're going to charge countries for doing business in our country and taking our jobs, taking our wealth, taking a lot of things that they've been taking over the years. They've taken so much out of our country, friend and foe, and frankly, friend has been oftentimes much worse than foe. And this is very modest. What we're going to be doing is a 25% tariff on all cars that are not made in the United States. If they're made in the United States, there's absolutely no tariff. We started off with a 2.5% base, which is what we were at, and we go to 25%. And basically, as you know, and as you've been seeing, not reporting as accurately as it should be reported because it's a massive story. Business is coming back to the United States so that they don't have to pay tariffs. And I think also because of November 5th, the election, they're very happy. AI is coming back to levels that nobody's ever seen before. It's a new, sort of a new business, I guess, when you think about it. But it's plants are going up all over the United States, and many of them have already been started. We're getting early electricity taken care of. We're getting permits very quickly for them, and we're going to make their life very happy. They're coming in with tens of billions of dollars. Individual plants will cost 10, 15, even 20 billion dollars. We're going to let them build electricity generating plants along with their plant, and they can't even believe it. And we're going to get them very quick permits, as I've done always. I did that in Louisiana with 2 LNG plants. I got them one permit in one day after waiting 14 years, and the other one in 1 week after waiting for 12 years. But this is very exciting to me. This is the automobile industry, and this will continue to spur growth like you haven't seen. Before I was elected, we were losing all of our plants. They were being built in Mexico and Canada and other places. Now those plants largely have stopped, and they're moving them to our country. In Indiana, the great state of Indiana, I love Indiana. Honda is building one of the biggest plants anywhere, and they've just started. They wouldn't have done it without this. In all cases, they wouldn't have done it without what we're doing. So we'll effectively be charging a 25% tariff. But if you build your car in the United States, there is no tariff. And what that means is a lot of foreign car companies, a lot of companies are going to be in great shape because they've already built their plant. But their plants are underutilized, so they'll be able to expand them inexpensively and quickly. But others will come into our country and build, and they're already looking for sites. They're looking for mostly sites. They don't want to take the old buildings that are empty and falling down. They want to build new, and there's tremendous action.
What's about as America First as it gets? And it's not just the auto industry itself that's going to be benefited here in the United States. It will also be other industries, as he noted, people building or companies building power plants, companies getting engaged and more mining done here in the United States of America, taking advantage of our resources here that we have versus having to import so much. The benefits from this will be dramatic. But let's start off. Let's just play it fair, and let's start off with what are the negatives from this. Will car prices go up? Yes, they will, especially if they're imports. If they are imports, then they are going to go up. And let's be clear, when I'm talking about imports, we used to talk in terms of buy American, domestic versus foreign. Well, the lines have been blurred, and they've been blurred for years, really decades, because you have American companies that are shipping off their jobs and their plants down to Mexico and other places. You have foreign companies that are building here in the United States. So it's like, is it really, what is foreign, what is domestic? Is it based upon the ownership, who the shareholders are, or is it based upon who's actually producing jobs and revenue and income and tax dollars here in the United States of America? So that's why I'm not going to refer to domestic versus foreign. We're just going to call it American made versus imports. So when we're talking about imports, those prices are going to go up, and they are going to go up dramatically, and they're going to be painfully high, not just to the consumer, but really to the manufacturers themselves. And they're going to have to make a decision. Do we really want to to lose so much market share in the United States of America, or do we want to get on board with Trump's plan and just build? Let's just build them in the United States of America. We've already seen Audi and other companies preemptively saying, you know what, let's just go ahead and do it. Let's bite the bullet, invest in the United States of America. We're still going to sell a bunch of cars. We're still going to make a bunch of profits, and we'll be on President Trump's good side. And that seems to be a motivating factor for a lot of these companies, especially the foreign companies. What about non-imports? What about cars that are built here in America, whether it's a foreign company or a domestic company? The companies or the vehicles that are built here in the United States of America will see a temporary rise in prices. You're going to see that here in the coming months. But that's, number one, based upon just standard inflation because of 4 years under Joe Biden. There's been this trend upward anyway. But beside that, and perhaps more importantly, there will be a test phase. Hey, well, if everybody else is going to have to pay a little bit more, why don't we also charge a little bit more? And they're going to see what happens. But here's what will actually end up happening. Once they see that basically the bottom doesn't drop out in the automotive industry, things don't change, and they have to fight once again for market share, they're going to do what automakers have done for decades. They're going to come out with tremendous rebates, tremendous incentives, tremendous ploys to basically take the higher MSRP but reduce it down lower, to the point that in many cases, I think Americans are going to end up paying less for a new automobile next year than they are right now. Not all of them. It won't be across the board, but there will be some that will go so far as to say, you know what, let's go for a market share play here. Let's not worry about the per vehicle. Let's give incentives to the dealerships as well as to the consumers, so that the dealerships are paying less, the consumers are paying less, the dealerships are making more and selling more. And as a result, the automakers, they might not be making as much per vehicle, but they will be making more based upon the increase in market share. And this is one of the reasons why the propaganda by legacy media is already hitting on both fronts. They're not just hitting on the prices. They're also claiming that there's going to be a reduction in total sales. And I'll get to that here in a second. But first, let's get to the positives. Okay, there are tremendous positives that are going to come from this. Obviously, bringing more companies, more industries back here to the United States, and enticing others to come to the United States for the first time. This is this is an economic boom. This is going to be huge. And again, it's not just about where the cars are being built. It's other industries as well. It is mining, it is manufacturing, it is parts development, technological development. It is, of course, the cottage industries. When they say, it's funny, they always say, oh, but the car sales are going to go down. Yeah, well, whenever car sales go down, and this is, I don't know if it's a dirty little secret, but it is a secret in the automotive industry. It doesn't matter. When sales go down, okay, repairs go up. So car dealerships, generally speaking, the new car dealerships, they have their auto body and their mechanics, their auto repair, and they have their sales. What a lot of people don't realize is that a good chunk of dealerships, I would say maybe 50% or more, rely more on repairs on their shops and their mechanic bays than they do on actual car sales. They don't make a ton of money. We're not talking like, oh, they're making 30% on the cars. No, they're making like in some cases like 1.5% on the cars, but they can make a lot more money on repairs. So when sales go down, a lot of times profits of dealerships can actually go up as a result of people taking their current vehicles and repairing them more often than just trading them in and buying new cars. It's just a little side benefit there. But there will be, of course, a tremendous boost in tax revenues as well as the revenues that are generated from the tariffs themselves. So the Treasury is going to get a boost, which can, if handled properly, and this remains to be seen, but if handled properly, this could actually help to lead to a reduction of taxes against American citizens. If this is as big as we hope it's going to be, if we're talking about in the hundreds of billions of dollars in potential boon for the Treasury over the course of the next year, then yeah, this is going to give President Trump and his administration the freedom, the leeway to be able to really truly talk about tax cuts for Americans. Of course, more jobs, that's a no-brainer. And this is the part where nobody in legacy media is ever going to talk about this. They're not going to say, oh, well, as a result of the jobs increases, the jobs that are going to be created from this. No. They're just going to be talking about, oh, this is so bad. It's the end of the automotive industry. You might as well start buying bicycles again. Again, as if we were ever buying a bunch of bicycles, but you get the idea. Now, there is one other major benefit to this, and I'll get to that in a second because that one's a little bit off topic, but it's important, and I would say arguably it's the biggest one. But let's talk about the narratives first, the lies that they're telling us. They've been telling us about how devastating automotive tariffs were going to be. They've been saying that since the beginning. I mean, even before President Trump was elected, I saw some reports and a couple of studies done that showed, automotive tariffs are going to destroy the automotive industry. They're going to cause a recession, cause stagflation, cause blah, 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 blah. It's going to be awful. We're all going to die if there's tariffs. That was the narrative before, and now, of course, it's going to go into overdrive. I saw one report that said that there will be a reduction in sales of 700,000 new vehicles sold in the United States of America as a result of these tariffs. That's a lie. That's not even close to being true. That is a manufactured total, a manufactured amount based upon faulty data and false assumptions. And it's a political study. I read through the study itself. It's pure politics, okay? I mean, they might as well said, hey, they actually probably did say this. Hey, I want you to do a study that shows that new car sales in the United States will drop as a result of President Trump's tariffs. And the people doing the study, they're like, so you want us to see what the results of the tariffs are? They're like, no. We don't care what the actual results are. I want a study that shows that there will be a dramatic drop in sales. I mean, that's what basically got commissioned. That's not going to happen, folks. There might be a slight temporary drop in new car sales, but that's been happening already, to be clear. We're already seeing the used car market explode while the new car market has been hindered, mostly because of the focus, the mandated focus on green vehicles. But there are other factors to be included in that. Now, with these tariffs and with President Trump hopefully pulling back on all these green mandates for the automotive industry, we should see sales level out. I don't know if they're going to increase. We'll see. I don't know what the overall response will be. And to be clear, nobody does. This isn't, if you were an economist, you would know. No, nobody knows because this is unprecedented. We've never seen anything like this. Not in our lifetimes, not in anybody's lifetime. This is the first time the United States of America has gone this far when it comes to putting forth an America First policy for automotive. We've always been very welcoming. Okay, we really have. We've always been very welcoming of other countries, but now it's time to make the doors a little bit more narrow, make the gate a little bit more straight, and make it to where, hey, if you really want to do business here in the United States of America, best way to do that is to build and hire here in the United States of America. So that's going to be good. Now, when it comes to prices, the price lies are the funniest ones, because I saw a report, I think it was New York Times, one of the major outlets. They came out and they're like, new car prices are going to rise by as much as $10,000 on imports. But we didn't say that. No, they didn't say imports. They said on vehicles made in China. I'm messing this. This is a gag, and I'm messing up. Vehicles built. What they were saying is vehicles built in Canada or Mexico. Yes, the prices of those vehicles are going to go up dramatically. They will, and that's a result of the tariffs. That's true. They were very quiet about that last part, though. They didn't. The New York Times didn't really focus on the fact that these tariffs are going to raise prices on those cars. They were really talking about, in the automotive industry, you're going to see a dramatic increase in prices. The reality is that you're probably going to pay, extra in the short term on, say, a $40,000 new vehicle. For round numbers, we'll say a $50,000 new vehicle, you might end up paying somewhere between $500 and $1,000 more MSRP if it's an America-built vehicle. And again, this won't kick in really until next year. But that MSRP increase, again, is just a test. And that will be made up for with greater incentives than what they've done in the past, or at least what they're doing currently with today's level of prices. It's just, this is how the automotive industry works, folks. I was in it for a decade. It's It is truly wonderful, by the way, to be clear, from an economics perspective, it really is a wonderful case study on how capitalism can be so fluid. Okay, I'm not agreeing or disagreeing with tactics in the automotive industry. What I'm saying is that it's, from a scholarly perspective, just watching it academically, it's like, wow, that's pretty cool. That's neat. These guys are pretty smart. They know how to handle this. It actually is quite amazing. So now let's get to this last part, which is what does all this really mean? Okay, is this really about generating tariff revenue? Is it really about trying to bully other companies, other countries even? No, this really is about preparations by President Trump and his administration for the slow, for now, the creeping drawdown of the unipolar world. The United States of America understands, in large part thanks to Joe Biden, but also in large part thanks to just sheer necessity, the United States will no longer be the sole superpower here at some point in the very near future. And I'm talking about economically. I'm not talking about militarily. It's a whole other issue. But when it comes to economically speaking, we haven't advanced as fast as other countries have. They've come up. And so our ability to make demands, it is reducing. This is why it is so important for our America First, almost, I wouldn't say isolationist, but at least from a position of power, making sure that America's dollars can be maintained as imperative for the world to operate. I'm not just talking about dollars that they hold in treasuries. I'm talking about dollars that they make through our consumers, through us. If we are going to not crash, not collapse, then we have to see the writing on the wall, which President Trump does. The writing on the wall says, hey, you know what? This whole globalist economy thing didn't work, and now we got our tentacles spread out way too thin. We're too involved. We're too engaged. We're doing too many things for too many other countries, and we're not taking care of ourselves. And as a result, we're getting taken advantage of, and American taxpayers, they're getting the shaft. Well, President Trump is trying to rein that in. Not trying to. He is in the process of reining it in, and these tariffs are a major step in that direction. We will, at some point, I don't know if it's going to be a year or a decade or a generation, but at some point in the not too distant future, the United States economy will no longer be the driving force for the world's economy. There's nothing we can do to stop that, by the way. It would take dramatic changes. For example, I don't know, maybe the ascension of artificial superintelligence controlled by the United States. We'll see if we get to that. But barring that, we have to see the writing on the wall, as I noted. And the writing on the wall says this: the unipolar financial economic world, the world of one major economy ruling the entirety of the world's economy, those days are almost over, and we have to prepare for it. We have to put our pride aside and praise God for that. To be clear, look, I don't want to be the world's economic driver. That doesn't benefit us. What benefits us is an America First mentality of taking advantage of one of our greatest strengths as a nation, and that's the fact that outside of certain items, such as rare earth minerals, which I do believe we can find, but outside of certain things, we can be self-sustaining. Not every country, most countries cannot say that. We don't need imports in order to survive. If we were to become, and I'm not saying that we should, but if we were to become a completely isolationist nation, we would be fine. Things would change. Some things would be less convenient. Perhaps some things would be less efficient. But over time, if we were to go down that road, we would be actually able to become stronger as a result, stronger internally and stronger for our own people. That is what I would like to see. So as sad as it is that we're probably not going to be the controlling economy of the world here in a certain period of time, that might sound bad, but in reality, if we're just responsible for taking care of ourselves, I think we're going to be just fine. Thank you so much for watching. Please go to jdrucker.com/find, jdrucker.com/find for my Rumble, YouTube, X, Brighteon, BitChute, Apple Podcasts, all of the various places where you can subscribe to my work.